Now, exactly 1 year ago on this day, August 25th, 2017, 17 by XXXTentacion was released, and in honor of the 1 year anniversary, I thought we could take a trip back in time and talk about this album once again. I remember listening to this album for the first time, asking myself so many questions regarding what I was hearing, because X came out as this very polarizing and angry rapper at the time. At least that was the perception the world had of him. He came up off of controversy and problematic situations, and that was the first thing people thought about when they heard his name, and 17 to me was a slap in the face to everyone who wasn't expecting that side from him. There's something about the way this entire album was set up that just makes me appreciate it so much more now that I've had time to listen to it for such a long time. I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again, one of my criticisms for this project was the fact that it was way too vague for my taste, because every time I listen to it, the same questions pop up in my head when I hear different parts of the project. And the questions are, what does this mean, or what does this mean, or what does that mean? That's me asking questions based off of the slight confusion that I get from wondering, how come X didn't elaborate on the way he was truly feeling, because most of the songs on here were so short that it got me thinking this man is probably saving the most well thought out, the most articulated parts of his thoughts for an album in the future. And hopefully that's what happens on his upcoming album Skins, but 17 in my eyes represents the rawest and the most honest side from X. It represents his true feelings and emotions on one piece of art, and looking back at the project now, I kinda like it that way. I don't think his goal with this project was to make you understand him, rather it was to make you relate to him. And the truth is, there was a lot of people who didn't relate to the project, and a lot of people thought that it was a corny attempt at quote-unquote being depressed. And keep in mind, I remember a lot of people bashing the album on social media when it first came out because they thought that the depression aspect of the project was fake. I'm really sure that you already know about this, but the question about is XXXTentacion fake depressed was a really big conversation back then. A lot of people thought what they were hearing on 17 was just a facade, and it really doesn't align with this side of him, the more reckless side of him, the side that got him in and out of jail. That's what people thought, and till this day I truly believe that X had different personalities in him that he could channel and bring to the surface when needed. The more reckless side of him was very much needed because it was a part of his evolution as a person, and then on 17 it was a time for him to mentally settle down and truly express himself despite the crazy spotlight he had on him at the time. One of my favorite things about this project is the fact that it has that very soothing feeling to it. I think the fact that it is such a dark album overall probably has a big part in that, but also just X's performance all over this one was a big part in it. For me, this project definitely marks a very important time in hip-hop in general, and I say that because when this album was first released, X was the face of all the new rappers. He was the new cool thing to love but also to hate. If you really think about it, he was the most relevant thing on the entire hip-hop scene when he first came out. Just the way he came up, from the controversy to him actually overcoming all the negativity, to him then taking all the negativity and turning that into something positive, to him freely just speaking about all the things that he was feeling inside and then gaining a crazy loyal fan base, and then from that to him releasing an album like 17. And realize that a lot of his success had to do with the people who didn't like him, because that really pushed him to the top. I think what he did with this album was opening up a new lane for every single upcoming and aspiring rapper in hip-hop, and the lane he opened up was the emotional lane. It was the misunderstood, polarizing, suicidal lane that not a lot of people had the courage to open up. And when I say people, I mean the younger rappers of this generation. Despite his extremely young age, I think he showed a lot of people that experience doesn't always come with age. Sometimes it just comes with a human being who was unlucky enough to go through all the shit he went through, and all that got expressed through this album right here. I can't believe it's only been 1 year since this album got released, but in the coming years we'll be seeing how well this project ages. As always, long live my man X, and happy birthday to 17 the album by XXXTentacion. Ayy.